Welcome everyone! Today I will show you a very famous game by Boris Spassky. This was played in Belgrade in 1970 and it was part of the USSR versus rest of the world match. This game was played on board 1 and it opened with b3. Now Larsen actually popularized this move in the late 1960s. It never really became as popular as e4 or d4, but strong players did pick it up, including even Bobby Fischer. Black played e5, bishop to b2, knight to c6, defending the pawn, c4, knight to f6, just developing, and then white played knight to f3, which is a very provocative move since it's tempting black to play e4 now. Now soon after this game, the move e3 actually became popular for white, for example played in the game Fischer versus Anderson, which was also in 1970. Black played e4, gaining space with tempo, Spassky doesn't mind that. Knight to d4, bishop to c5, again gaining a tempo. And here white played knight takes knight on c6. Now that does help black to develop the other bishop, but defending the knight also isn't great. If white had tried e3, then after bishop takes knight, e takes d, d5, now d4 is kinda weak, the bishop on b2 is blocked, and to top it off, white's development really isn't that great. So therefore after bishop to c5, white traded on c6, d takes c, e3, bishop to f5, putting pressure on white's backward pawn. Queen to c2, finally developing another piece. Queen to e7, planning queenside castling, which will also put pressure on the d-pawn. And here white played bishop to e2. Now white would like to get rid of the weak d-pawn, but if white had tried to trade the pawn with d4, then after e takes d3, bishop takes, queen takes, and rook to d8, black's attacking the queen, black's taking the open line, and if white at some point castles short, then black has very easy moves like knight to g4 and queen to d6, and black would have a really nice initiative. Therefore after queen to e7, white played bishop to e2, castles queenside. Now if white allows it, black will just double the rooks on the d-file. And here white played f4. Now black already had a good position before this move, but now Spassky just stands great. White actually would have liked to play the move bishop takes f6 and then just develop with knight to c3, but unfortunately that doesn't work here. If white had still tried bishop takes knight, then after queen takes knight to c3, then black could have played bishop to b4, hoping to ruin white's structure. So therefore, instead of f4, maybe white could have considered a3 to stop this plan. That didn't happen though, because after castling queenside, white played f4, and then came the move knight to g4. Strong, but also very logical of course. White's king is clearly weaker after the move f4, since it gives really nice attacking squares to black's knight and queen. Now white played g3 to stop queen to h4. If white would have just castled, then it's game over right away, because here black has the really nice move rook takes d2. That's removing the defender of e3, and after knight takes rook, knight to e3, forking the rook and queen. And if then let's say queen to c1, then black could have played knight takes rook with check, king takes, and after queen to h4, the queen is coming in, it's targeting f2 and h2, and white is clearly losing now. Therefore after knight to g4, white played g3, but now black played h5. Black's really not giving white any chance in this game. After this he just wants to play h4 and just break open white's position. White played h3, kicking the knight, but then came h4 anyway. Black doesn't even really need the knight to win this, and also if white just takes the knight, which he did, then he just gives black another open line to attack on. Larsen captured the knight anyway, ace takes g3, rook to g1, not trading the rooks but keeping the rook as a defender. but then came the best move of the game, rook to h1. So Spassky is already down a piece at this point, and now he also gives up a rook, but in doing that he gains the tempo for the attack with his g-pawn. After white captured the rook, g2, gaining that tempo, white is completely lost now. White played rook to f1 here. If instead he had tried rook to g1, which seems more logical, then black just goes queen h4 check, king to d1, and then queen to h1, so white loses the rook anyway. Therefore after g2, white played rook to f1, but after queen h4 check, king to d1, and after pawn takes rook promoting with check, Larsen decided to resign. Checkmate is coming. It could have ended with bishop takes queen, bishop takes g4 check, king to c1, queen e1 check, queen to d1, and queen takes queen checkmate. Wow. Just a crushing win by Boris Spassky. Of course, white's opening play was rather suspicious, but credit to Spassky for taking every opportunity to punish it. I hope you like this game as much as I do. Thank you for watching Chess Student, and take care.